Hello everyone, this is Sandy from Doux Designs, and tonight we're going to play with monochromatic coloring. Now I know a lot of people use sepia, but we're gonna try with orange because it's Halloween and you know it's October 1st, and what great idea to try and try and see what we can do. So I see we have somebody join us. If you could say hello so I can make sure I can see comments. I was having a bit of technical difficulty earlier when I first tried to go live. So if you could, that would be great. Can you go out there and check it, honey? Because I don't know if it's working. So I have this really large butterfly from Scrappy Tails, and I really think this butterfly is so adorable, and it's large so we can really play with coloring. So I have some Olos here and some Copics. See, people jumped on and then off. I lost them both. So, So anyway, I wanted to try both of the markers. So trying Copics first, and then we'll do the Olos. And that way we can see, now the colors aren't exactly the same, which is fairly normal. Because Copics has quite a few markers. They have 358, but Olo now has 160. Oh, hello, Joy. Hello, Cheryl. Yay, it's starting to work. Okay, I was worried. I had some technical difficulty logging in earlier, setting it up, the live, so I was a little bit worried. But I'm glad it's working now. I can see your comments. So I have stamped this on 6x6. If these turn out really nice, I might make them into a card later. But right now, I'm not really sure how that's all going to go. So it also has dies that go with it. It's super pretty. And there are several different sizes of butterflies or moths, whichever way you want to look at it. But I chose orange because I felt like since it was October 1st, orange would be great. I almost did purple, but you guys, I always do purple. So I decided to try orange. So I have my magnets up here on my desk from on my glass mat, because these Olos roll all over your desk. That part drives me a little bit crazy, but I'm using these magnets to hold them where they're supposed to be. So anyway, I have chosen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 Olo, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 Copics. So we're going to start with the Copic, and then we're going to do one with the Copic and one with the Olo. This is going to be my first time actually coloring a full image with Olos ever. So, don't know how it's going to turn out, but we're gonna see. We're just going to roll with it. So, I have my little Copic stand here. I'm not going to use, it's not for all of the colors, just some of the ones I want to start out with. And I'll put the caps there so you can see. And then we'll work on this one afterwards. So I'm very fluent with Copics, so I feel like I could do the Copic one rather quickly, but the Olo one might take me a bit longer. So I had someone asking about monochromatic. So basically when I chose my colors, I went from the darkest shade of orange to the lightest shade of orange, and then all the ones that filled in that smoothly blended from one color to the next. So there was a lot of testing with that, as you can see on here. This was the Copic ones, and this is the Olo ones. So while we're getting some of the very similar colors, It's just, we're going to stick with just those colors. You got your ant stamp today. Yay! Wow, that took a long time. But I'm so glad you got it. So I'm not just going to go from dark to light all the way out. Like, there'll be different areas that are going to be darker and different areas that are going to be lighter where I'm not using all the colors. And I tell you exactly what I'm going to do, but I'm not really sure. So we're just going to kind of play with it. I am going to do some darker in the center. Like, we're going to do the center part. I think we'll do this part first. So I'm going to start with the darkest colors that I had chosen in this sequence. And as you'll see, there are some E's in here mixed in. I think that might be the only one. The rest of them are YRs, but this one is E because it's very, very dark and I needed something to bring in that shadow really, really well. So I'm going to start up here. And it's not going to be real dark, but I am going over the black just where the neck of the butterfly is so that it goes over the black. So it kind of makes the black appear to be a little bit more darker brown than black. So that is what we're doing with this one. Up against that black, this color doesn't seem very dark, but it's pretty dark compared to all the other colors. So I don't usually go over the black, but I wanted to in this case because I was hoping that it would bring in a little bit of depth to this image. So I'm kind of doing it a little bit different than what I would do if I were not doing monochromatic. If I were just coloring, I would be doing this significantly different. So the next color I want to use is the YR18. This is going to be very dark and it's going to blend very well with that brownish color that I already put on there. So basically what we're doing is extending out just like we always do when we're coloring with Copics, and leaving just a small area for a highlight, which will be my last color on the body. I want to keep the body a little bit darker than the rest of the butterfly. I did not bring the, I'm not bringing the fluorescence into this, just regular Copic markers. And this whole thing is going to be orange when we're done. There's not going to be any other colors, just orange, dark to light orange. YR27 is my last one, and I'm just going to go back and forth very, very lightly, leaving a small area where it's lighter. It's still going to be rather dark, and that's okay. I kind of want it that way for this section. You may see the difference a little bit more in the eye area up there at the top. So we have our center part done, and now we're going to start working on moving out. So I think I'm going to go one side of the wing at a time because I feel like it's such a big object. I need to have some of the darkest color in there. So I'm going to start with that really close to the body, but we have 10 colors. So we're going to be playing with those colors, mixing them up a bit. So I'm going to do a second coat because that will deepen the color. And I did this one and this one and this one. So these other two, I'm going to do those in a different tone just so we get like a bit of dimension from this. So I'm going to try to go like every other one. So this one would be the opposite, and then this one would be the next one. I'm just making this up as I go, seriously. So how's everybody doing? I'm going to skip this one and do this one. I hope everybody's having a good day today. I'm definitely feeling better than I was this weekend. So I'm very glad about that. Okay, I'm going to skip this area right here because I feel like that's a whole different piece and I don't really want to include that. So I'm going to skip this one and I'm going to do this one. But I'm not going to do anything with that top piece for now. I don't want to do anything with that yet. So, hey, Peggy. So, following the original colors that we chose, EO8, YR18, we're just going to start going down the rainbow of, well, I say the rainbow, down the lighter scale of orange. So I'm going to put a little bit of this YR18 in there. So now this part's going to look a little bit like the body because it's the same colors that we used for that. But we're just using a very small amount because I want to gradually move this into a much lighter color. Now, I'm going to tell you guys the truth. I have not done much at all of monochromatic, so I am not really sure how this is going to come out, but I know what the theory is, and so we're going to play along with just trying it. So you guys are seeing the true as we speak first real time of me doing a full image with this monochromatic. So, but you guys asked for it, so I'm going to do it. So you guys are going to see this firsthand. It's the first time that I've done it, and it's going to be the first time I've done a full image with Olos as well. So a lot of firsts tonight, but what fun we will have. So feel free to ask questions if you have any, because I'm more than happy to answer them. Also, Joy happens to be on the live tonight, and she can help with any questions. Dale is also here, so he can certainly help me out with that as well. Okay, so now we're going to go on to the next few markers. So I have YR09. This one is going to make it change to a very bright orange. So it's a bit of a jump from the last colors, but still blends very, very nicely with the colors I already put on there. So it looks a little bit like overpainting or underpainting, whichever way you want to look at that. I am, because this changes the tone a bit, I am going over the other color that I put on there because I want to make sure that it influences the orange color, even though I used different colors to make it, if that makes sense. Hopefully you guys are following me. How exciting. Yeah, this is all new stuff tonight. New stuff for me, new stuff for you guys. I'm going to move these markers so it doesn't go out of focus so much when my arm goes across the screen. And I think I'll zoom in just a tad bit more so you guys can really see it. So you can definitely tell already bringing in the YR09 made this much brighter than this area, even though we're still using the same colors. So this one's even brighter. So just extending out from where that last color was. When you color like this, if you get this point where you have like that line right there, you could go over the whole thing, but we're going to wait. We're going to do that with the next color because I feel like this one's so dark it will overpower too much of the other color in there, and I don't really want to influence that color quite as much. So that's definitely a technique of learning your markers to know how much you want to do. But I definitely don't want to leave this line right here that you can see. You can see it right now, but I don't want to leave that on there. So see how this one, when I color with this one, how much lighter this is, almost goes into like a pumpkin orange. So that's where we could fix this connector right here. And we just go over it and just kind of soften that up, and it'll fix that connector where you can see where one marker stops and the next one starts. And you don't want to have that big spot there, so you can use these other colors to practice with that. Now this part up here is going to fill in much faster, but we're going to start moving on out to these pieces further out as well. So once this starts to fill in, then with the next one we'll start further down. If that makes sense. Hopefully you guys are following. We got to make sure we coat over this to fix that connector piece all the way up. So we have 4 more markers to go, because remember I said there are 10 in the Copic group that I chose. So this is YR15. This one's going to be even lighter than the last one and sort of moving a little bit towards yellowish colors. This one blends really nicely with the last color. So we are good with that. This one I'm going to start building out from here. We'll go a little bit here as well. This one is further out, so I'm going to wait on that one. There we go. Oh, hi, Bev. Thanks for popping in. I'm glad to have you here. This is YR04. So this one's going to be a little bit more orangey than the other one was. And that's okay. Once I get to this edge right here, I'm actually doing my brush stroke from the opposite side. And that's because I don't want to pull any of that dark color into this lighter color. So I'm just pushing that back into itself. We're going to do that a little bit down here as well. These excess ones. We have 2 more colors to go. So now I have YR14. So they're getting lighter as you go, which is what we want. There's 1 more color. So we will have that color in some areas, and some areas we will not. And we'll have to go through this sequence of colors several times. So this is YR12. It's the last one. So I just made sure that got a lot on there. A little bit down here. Now, I'm not going to mess with any of the opposite ones. But for those that are just jumping in now, and for those that have been watching, I missed this section right here. So we're going to back up to about YR16 and fill this one in, because I did it with the other ones and I want this to go all the way out to the edge of the wings. And then we'll do YR15. So kind of what I call walking it down the sequence that I've chosen. Then YR04. And then the last one, I think I did that out of sequence, but that's okay. YR12 is the last one. So now I have that all the way out, thank goodness. All right, so I have my markers back in a row. And what I want to do is go ahead and move on to the other side. I want to do the same type of ombre on this side. So I'm going to start with the darkest color again. And while I'm going down, you guys can ask questions if you have any. Otherwise, I'm just going to start filling this in. And for people who just jumped on, they can see the whole sequence again. So basically what I'm doing is choosing every other area of the wings to do this color combination on, and it's pretty much all the colors I have chosen for this group. It's all going to be orange, so when I choose the next group of colors out of these that I'm going to use, it won't include all of them. so that we can get a different look with different colors, but still keeping to the same orange, the same monochromatic coloring. So basically what that means is that everything is used with the same color, but lots of variations of the same color. That's basically what the monochromatic is. So YR18. We'll be going over this with the next color. So I'm not really worried so much about how well that's blending, because we'll be going over it again. And when we get done, it's going to be this beautiful transition of all the colors in there. Do you have to use this many colors? No, you do not. But I wanted to show all of the graduation from one to another. Plus, I wanted to be able to work different colors in there, different sequence of colors, so it appears much lighter or much darker. So we did the body in the darkest colors, and now we're moving lighter colors. You're afraid to comment, you don't want to miss anything. Can't type and listen at the same time. It happens. We all feel that sometimes. So this is YR27. And I'm just going to go over all of that to blend that out and extend it a bit further. And always remember, Peggy, that also this will be uploaded to YouTube after I finish the video with the color combinations in the description. So you can always go back and catch anything you missed. That way you can speed it up, slow it down, pause it, whatever you need to do while you're watching the video. So hopefully that's helpful to everyone. Yes, nice to see new people on tonight. The YR09, that's the one where it changes to a much brighter orange. So this one really changes the look a bit, which is what's going to give the variation between the body, the center part of the body, because I didn't use this color in the center, and it's going to allow it to look different. So I'm not doing a lot of saturation over that. I really don't want to. I don't want to overpower the colors I put underneath. I want you to still be able to see those through. So just going over it with like one quick swipe to make sure I keep all those colors in the combination. So next, I didn't even close my marker, crazy me. Next I have YR07, which is also very bright. So I'm just gonna extend out some from there with this color. This is the one that we leave the transition spot alone, and we'll work that out with the next color. Normally, we would work that transition until it's smooth, but I'm not doing that with this one just because I don't want to change the shadow part too much with this color. So I'm doing the blending with this marker. So this is YR16, and this is where I'm going to make sure that the transition, because you can tell, see how much lighter it is? So it'll give you a chance to smooth out that transition. So you won't see that line, but it won't overpower the other colors. It's just kind of a trick that you learn when you learn how your markers act. It helps you to know how they're going to behave and how you can blend them well. Just experience is what will get you there. Hey Taz. So I had a little bit of a transition on that one, so I had to go ahead and do that. And then we're going to extend out a bit further. So this one's the same way. And then we're going to come out here and just put a little bit. We also need to do, I think we missed all of this on that side, but that's because I want to do it a different color. So we're just going to leave that alone, almost like these stripes are underneath those stripes. And that's not a technical term for a butterfly, that's just what I decided. Except for this one up here, I made that one the same. So, you know, now YR15, these are going to start getting lighter and lighter. A couple of them are very close, though YR14 and 12 are very, very close in color. So you won't see a lot, but it's enough of a change to lighten it up. And that's what I want to do. I did not do this part out here on the other side. I think I'll leave it alone for now. No, maybe we should have that done. So I'm going to go ahead and do this one, and I'm going to fill this one in on the other side because we missed that when we were doing that side. YR04. This one kind of comes back to the light orange again. Almost feels like you're going into a yellow, but we're not. It's kind of neat as you're playing with these colors. It's almost like a game. How many colors can you get? How many different variations of colors can you get out of this orange sequins? I mean, it already looks like it's popping off the paper. YR14. There's only one more color, so I'm going to finish that part right there and leave a teeny bit for the last color. Same there. I'm going to leave that for the last color. So now we're just building in a little bit with this color, and then we have one more to finish it off. These are very small areas, so they don't take very long to do. You like it, Peggy? Yeah, it's pretty neat. And honestly, this is really my first time doing it. I just thought I would give it a whirl. And then I'm going to give it a whirl with Olos, and we'll see how that goes. And honestly, I've not played with the Olos enough to know how well they blend, so this is going to be a learning experience for both of us. But I noticed a lot of people have been using Olos lately, so I want to try to get the hang of that. I love it too, and you can do this with any color. Just all you have to do is choose the colors and make sure they blend together like this. Do them in a swatching form. So I picked the first one, and then I picked the second one, and then I just went down just to make sure that they all blend together as you go. That one was a little bit darker than the last one, and I was okay with that because it's kind of orange. And then you just keep going. And if you happen to like touch one and it's not even close, then you start over and rearrange them until you get them in the order that you want them in. That's how I did it. I'm sure there are other ways, but that's kind of how I did it to figure out which colors to use for this sequence and which ones not to use. So let's go ahead and do these inside, the next inside pieces, so we can see. You only reach for your Olos now? That's very interesting. It's definitely a learning curve with the Olos, for sure. So in this next set, I'm going to leave off the first three. Those are the darkest ones that I did the centerpiece with. So the EO8, YR18, and YR07. I'm going to leave those off, and it's going to leave us with this combination of much brighter to light for the next section. That way we'll get a different feel out of these colors. So I'm going to start here with just the orange. See how much brighter the orange is? It makes a difference between this one and that one. And that's kind of what you're going for, is to find variations that look different, but they're still the same colors. still all in the same color family. That's your task when you're monochromatic coloring. And I think I might leave this one out, and that one out. And I might do those like darker or something just so we can see some variation. Since that wasn't so hard and I want to do this side the same way, I'm going to go ahead and do both sides at the same time. So we'll just start here. And then we can just change the color and flip it around, and we'll just keep going till we get it all colored in. So this butterfly is going to be flipping around and flipping around and flipping around. We'll see what I think. I have put in my request for a set of Olos to play with, and we'll see if I don't think I'll ever change from being a Copic gal. I will always love my Copics. But I'm wondering if I will get to the point where I love them both. And it'll just depend on which one I want to use. But there's definitely a learning curve between them. What I've noticed so far, and I'll show you when we get to the next one, I will love them a lot more when they offer the smaller replacement nibs. Yes, that's what I was going to say. I don't have a problem with the nib, but what I can tell you I've noticed so far is that the Copic nib is much more firm than the Olo nib. And so it's much easier to get these super fine lines with the Copics for me, because I'm fluent in Copics, than it is for me to do it with the Olo. And I think that's just going to take practice. Hi, Beth. So I think this one might be too close to that color. I want to see if I can skip this color and move to this color. Oh yeah, certainly. So we're going to skip YR16 this time, and we're going to go straight into YR15 because I want to lighten this up quite a bit here. So it causes a slight bit of extra work on the transition part. If you could see that, you'll be able to see this as well. When I first do it, you can still see that line, so you have to go over it just a little bit more to soften it up, but it's not doable. It's definitely doable. So you can see all the lines in there. So we're just going to go over this just a little bit more right where it connects. It looks like I got a little bit of a variation there. You can always go back with alcohol markers and fix spots or change things up after it dries. Just know that your next coat will be even lighter than the last coat. I mean darker. Each time you layer, it'll get one shade darker. You're not fluent in either. Yeah, it takes some time. Just be nice to yourself while you're learning, because it is definitely takes a bit of time to learn the different markers. And I've been trying to be nice and patient with myself on the learning of the Olos. But yeah, I want to be able to pick them up and use them and be great at them, and it just doesn't work that way. You really have to practice. So I just have to get it under my belt, and then I will be able to learn how to do that. How to work on those colors and get those transitions and work with more than one medium. I think once I get the hang of Olos, we have a set of Ohuhu, which I will be working on as well. And that way, when I do coloring videos, more than just Copic followers can follow me. All right, so we're starting to get some color in here. I like it. I think it's super pretty. But we're going to lighten this up now.
At least the foundations are all the same.
What?
But at least the foundations of alcohol marker coloring is the same.
Yes, the foundations and lessons of marker coloring are pretty much the same. It's just
knowing your specific tools.
Yes, knowing your tools. I've always struggled with coloring butterflies and birds. Huh. Is it because they just have so many different breakout areas, it feels kind of challenging? I think that's happens to lots of people. It takes a little bit of time to feel comfortable with that. But butterflies and birds, you can do anything you want with them. So it should be a little bit easier for you because you can do any colors or designs, unless you're trying to make a specific bird, like a bluebird or robin, or, you know, sticking with a specific color. But you can see the two different shades going through the butterfly wings. Hopefully you guys can see that on camera as well. And we'll probably do a little bit of the dark in some of these areas to make it stand out, and then much lighter, the really light colors on the ends. That way we can see all kinds of variation in there. And then we'll switch to the Olos and we'll try them, because the markers are not the same. The colors are not the same. They're very much different. Very different. You can get the combinations, but sometimes it takes some additional work to actually get there. I want to make sure I get just a little bit of this, because we only have two colors left on these areas where it extends all the way to the edge. Layering, coloring is always hard for me. I'm learning from you. Aww. Yes, just keep practicing. Practice, practice, practice. That's what's going to get you there. Okay, so this is YR14. We have one more color. So I'm going to put quite a bit of this one. This is super light touch.
Peggy said just learning what colors work together has been my challenge. Any advice?
Just learning what colors work. Oh, yes, what colors work together? Okay, well, with Copics, I can give you lots of advice. Hi, Dee. But with Olos, not yet, but I'm working on it. So what I can tell you is, if you look at the color combinations that I picked, you'll notice that there's a bit of a pattern. Now, ease, you can't really do this with ease, but for the most part, they start walking down in numbers, with the exception of the YR09 that changed the color. But 8, 7, the last number ending in 7, and then this one picks up at 6, 5, 4. So when you're in the same color family, it's better to stick with the first number being really close, like if it's 0, do 0 and 1. If it's 1, do 1 and 2. And then the last number, you want to just walk that down to lighten it up. So if you start with 9, then you want to look for an 8 or a 7, and then a 6 or a 5, 4 or 3. So kind of watching the numbers helps a little bit. It isn't going to be great with the ease, because the ease have way too much variation for it to actually work that well for you. But you can do it with the other colors. So like the yellow, red color, whatever you want to call it, the YR that we're using right now, it works fairly well with that one, except that I mixed some ease in there, which made it a bit more challenging. But paying attention to the numbers it can very much help you, because the numbers, they're for saturation and value. It's working with the same color family. So understanding the numbers on your markers, and I haven't learned the OLO numbers very well, but we will look at those numbers when we get to that spot, when we get to the OLOs next. We'll look at the numbers that we have so that we can kind of see if the numbers kind of go the same. But it took me a little bit of research to figure out the OLO numbering system. It's similar to the Copic numbering system, where it's, you know, the first the first number being the where's that paper? I was going to show you that paper. The first number is the saturation, whether it's bright or dull, and the second one is the value, which is light to dark. Hey Tony. So the saturation is the first number. The second number is the value. And it's the same on both markers. Both types of markers do the same. So they both mean the same thing. However, when you've looked at Copic markers for so long and then you look at the OLO markers, the OLOs, their color family, they use different letters for their color families, and their numbers have a dot in between. So to me, it just, like, my brain doesn't, like, go straight to what that means. So it takes a little bit of practice to learn that, because my brain goes straight to this type of color family. This is YR12. That's it, YR12. I know what that means. But when I look at something over here that says like 1.2 or 2.2, I don't know why that confuses me so much, but it just does. And I think it's just because I've looked at the Copic markers for so long that I just know what they are. I don't have to think about it. I missed a spot over here. This one right here should be colored in too. So I'm going to go back to YR15 and just put a little bit of that in here to mix with my YR12. I think I missed it on the other side too, but we'll see. So I'm going to leave my YR15 open in case I need it, but we're using YR12 right now. So we have this one that came all the way across. So this is YR15. And then this is YR12, because we have to get all those pieces we have to get them all colored in. So this is the YR12, and this is the 12, and this is the 12, and that kind of finishes off. Write down her color so you can learn by that too. Once you get that, then you can learn the numberings. Yes. So sometimes in the beginning, it's good when someone tells you which numbers to use, which sequence of numbers to use, what are their favorites. And I don't know if you noticed, but with Copics, a lot of people in the beginning, they learn it by using color families in the same first number and then 2 off from the last numbers. So for instance, let me just show you an example. This is B. So this combination right here, the first number is 0 on every one of them. So it has the same amount of saturation in every single marker. But the 2, the 4, and the 6 tell you the value from light to dark. So this combination is going to blend. But not all the color families have these numbers in what you want. And that's why you have to learn how to mix them. And that's where this comes in. So if I started with the 06 and I wanted to know, is 06 going to blend with 04? Just do this little bit of swatching right here. If you can make these two colors connect without a big line in them, then it works. And this is 02. So if I were to work this line just a little bit, I know that I can make all three of those blend together very nicely. And if you're done, get them from her lessons. She posts the colors before she posts to YouTube. I do. That's exactly right. So if you stay within 1 or 2 on the last number, you're usually pretty good. The E color family is the only one that's different. And I'll give you an example of that one as well. If I put the right caps back on my markers. I don't usually have more markers open at a time than just the one I'm using. But let's say, for instance, you have an E color family and you think, well, let's try 15, 17, 19, and 18. Okay, so these are the numbers that go in sequence order. E15, 17, 18, 19. But if you look at these colors together, they may blend, but they're not the same. This is 15. This is 17. I really should be doing this in the other way. Start with the darkest number first. The highest number first. So let's try E19. So when you do E19, it's kind of a reddish brown. And then you go to E18. E18 is darker than E19. So that isn't technically following exactly. This one should be darker, but it's not because it's an earth tone. So you need to do this. This will still blend, but if I were going to do this coloring, I would start with 18. And then I would go to 19 because look at how nicely they blend. And then I would go to 17, which would have blended with that one as well. But then you got this dark one right in the middle, which doesn't work. And then 15. And now you have a combination that works, but it didn't technically follow the numbering system. That's E18, then 19, then 17, then 15. So practice it on the paper. That's where you're going to know before you do it on here. Because if you just jump right into that with that combination, you're going to have trouble. And you don't want to have trouble. You want to be able to make it blend. So my suggestion is always swatch it out before you start, so that you don't get any problems in there. This is YR15 because I missed these spots. And I need to go back and fill them in. So there's that one, that one. I got all the other ones. This is YR12. So I want to get this back on track where we were so we don't lose our spot too much. But hopefully that made sense and helped you guys just a little bit to understand that. We can do more of that if you guys want to. But I definitely post all of the colors that I used when I was, all the colors I use on every video. It's in the description on YouTube. So if you're not following my YouTube, you should go out there and follow YouTube. It's just Doux Designs. And I put all the Copic colors from these classes that you guys are attending on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I put all the color combinations so you can follow along in the video with the right color combinations. Okay. I want to get some very dark orange in some of these areas, like in here and here. I'll probably want this to be lighter, but I want to get these darker. So I'm going to start. Let's check. Do I want to start with YR18 or do I want to start with YR09? So what we said before was 9 should be darker, except that 1 is more saturated. So I'm not sure exactly which one's going to be lighter. So in this case, YR09 is darker. So we're going to start with that one. And we'll come back to YR18 after we use this one. So just test them out on paper. So this is going to be orange, orange. I think I'm even going to leave the YR off. I'm going to do a little bit different pattern with this one. I'm going to do the orange off of each end. So we're going to do the connection and then off of each area from the black. So I want it to kind of follow a little bit different pattern than what we did before. So same thing on this side. I want the sides to somewhat match. They won't be perfect, but they never are in nature. You don't have to be like, oh, this one went out darker than that side. I mean, nothing in nature is exactly perfect. So neither are we. So we can do anything, and don't beat yourself up on that stuff. It's just small details. If I like how this looks, it's what we'll put down below, but I'm not sure yet, so we're gonna wait. I'm gonna do the next one is YR07, so I'm walking it down. YR09 and 07, the O is the same, so I know that if it's 2 lower than the 9, it will blend. Beautifully. And I think I'm going to make just a little bit bigger jump on the next one instead of just 2. I think I'm going to jump a bit more. So I'll show you what I mean, because I want the next one to be very light since we only have space for one more color. But I'll show you the trick I do to get that to blend even though it's a big jump. So we're going to jump from 7 to 4. Instead of 5. We're all learning each time, anyone that is doing a live coloring, but as a new person, Sandy's what you hear from what's you hear from you. I'm trying to give you a couple samples is all. I used this when I first started, hoping it would help others. Yes, there are others you can watch as well. I know Meg recently had a coloring video. I mean, you don't have to just watch me. In fact, I would suggest you watching lots of other people, because some things I do might not be the easiest thing for you to do. And someone else may approach it a little bit different, and that might click with you. So you might take a couple of things from me, a couple of things from someone else. I mean, that's what you want. We want you to find your skill, find your happy place, and then go from there. You don't have to do everything that I do to color like me. You just have to learn from everybody. And Cheryl is very helpful. So YR04, my trick to doing this, because it's a big jump from 07. See how much of a difference there is between this one and this one? But you can blend these. They're not too far. You could, if you work it enough, get a blend that would go together. But I don't want to have to do that much work. So what I'm going to do is start from the opposite end and go into that color. It won't drag any of the color out. It'll push that dark color back in. Then I'll keep the light color there, and it'll make me super happy. So it's just a trick. Instead of continuing to go this way, I'm just flipping this switch and coloring from the other end. It keeps you from having those harsh lines. It helps you to blend, and it helps you to not pull all that dark color into the light area that you want it to be. So that turned out really cute. Really, really nice. So I'm going to do the same thing on this side. I don't know. I'm assuming these same exact techniques will work with all alcohol markers. So that's why we're testing the Olos tonight. I do like that, but I think I want darker down here. So instead of using the YR9, 7, 4. I'm going to use the E08. I think I'm going to use the E08 and the YR27, and then maybe one of the other ones with it. Maybe not. Maybe just these two. Because honestly, I missed a spot again. You guys, what is wrong with me? I'm going to use the YR15. There we go. I'll get that colored in. We don't want to mess that up. So all these white areas in between here, I want them to be very dark. You love the orange? It's really pretty. So what I'm going to do is put this darker color in here. So this is E08. It's still an orange. It's just like a burnt orange. And I want that depth in there. I feel like it needs it. A little bit more depth going on here. And then we'll judge it based on how this looks, whether we're going to do this very light or very dark. So now I'm going to do YR27. So going from this end as well. It's still a bit on the brown side, and I'm okay with that. Still very light. This one is pretty light in the brown. So in order to make this remain like more on the brownish side, even though it's still orange, is I'm going to use like YR14. So I'm going to do that big jump again. So from 27 to 14. Your tip on rewatching our lives is the best tip. Oh, thanks. YR14. This one is going to still keep it more in that brown tone. I don't want to pull in that really orangey. I want it to be that deeper orange. Like a burnt orange, kind of. Still falls in the monochromatic, even though it appears a little bit on the brown side, it still falls into that same tone. So see how that all like breaks it up just a little bit? I like that. I think I want some very light orange in these. So I'm going to start with the YR04. It's very, very bright, and I might just put only YR04 in here. So this is just a very, very light area in this black. I want that to stay super light. See how much light? It almost looks like yellow, honestly. But it's not. It's the same orange we've been using all along. And I'm going to do that in all the rest of this area right here. Just one color, that's all you need. I feel like it's just enough to make it almost like perfect. You can see the color on the black until it dries, so don't stress about that. It will dry and be okay. And if not, we'll just go over the whole thing. If it tends to be a problem, then we just do this. So either way, if this part up here still tends to look that light, I would just go over your black like this. It still keeps your color just as light as it was before. But it makes your outside darker because you've added the orange over top of it. So see the difference between that one and that one? That's completely up to you on how you want to do that. If the little lines in here don't bother you, then I'd say leave it alone. But if it bothers you, then when you're doing this, you just want to do like the whole black area And you could stamp this in an orange ink, but honestly, I don't really own that many ink pads. So I don't have enough to do, I don't have orange ink pad that I can use Copics with. You could use Memento or a few others on the market, but I don't have any. I just have black and sand. So there is a beautiful butterfly that almost looks like, I mean, we only use the same orange colors, and doesn't it look like it has red and yellow and brown? And it was literally these markers. That's it. 10 markers for that. Isn't it beautiful? And then if you want to make, you know, any accents, you can do those later with your white gel pen, you know, just bring it out a bit. Areas like this, you can just make some little designs. And you can do them wherever you want, however you want. You can put a little bit in here. You know, just up to you. But you can put dots, you can do whatever, you can do gems, you can fancy it up however you want, but it's just beautiful, and we only use 10 markers. Now we're going to try it one more time. You like it? I like it. I think it would have been just as pretty in purple, but we all know we can't make everything purple. But it was, I saw there's a color challenge over at CC Designs. If you use their I think you have to use their stamps, but their color challenge is orange, so I had orange on the brain. So what we're going to do now is we're going to switch to the Olos, and we're going to try to see if we can get the same type of effect using the Olo markers. Now, be patient with me because this is my first time of doing a full image with the Olo markers, and I only was able to choose 8 instead of 10 colors. But I stuck with orange, and I need to pick these up carefully because honestly I don't know the numbers well enough to hold them still. But this is the range I have. Now if you look at the top of these markers, it looks like there's some red in here real bad, but they are still in the orange family, either orange or OR. So our Copics were yellow orange and the yellow red YR, and these are orange and orange red. So same color families, just a little bit different. And it is this sequence of colors right here that we're going to do. And that red one right there in the middle, we're going to use just a little bit of that one because even though it's red orange, I need that. There's no transition between this darker color and this lighter color without using that one. There just isn't another one marker right now. I don't have the new 32 yet, so that may change in the future, but for right now, I just don't have it. So, currently, I am borrowing these Olo markers to play with them. So, these are not mine. They come as a half a marker, like this is your whole marker. The other half is another of the same color in this particular set. The other half is the exact same color. So you could use a half a marker, or you can buy a handle or whatever you want to do. So there's a lot of options on buying Olos, but what I want you to know is that these nibs are way juicier. I mean, you can almost see it on there. Can you see all the, like, look at how wet that marker looks. So when I touch the paper, it's gonna go whoosh. So you have to be real careful because the ink will come out way faster than it does with the Copics. So you have to be a little bit careful with that. So the holding the marker upright is very important. And sometimes they explode on me and there's not a way to open the cap on the other end because they are not connected. See how they are not connected? This is a closed off end. They're just this little connector that you put in there. Let's see if I can get it off so you guys can see it. Yeah, there we go. So you get this little connector. It's open, see? Just screws into the butt end of the marker. So this is a full marker right here. And then you connect it to whatever you want. You can connect it to another color or the same color or whatever you want. But they say you need to leave the cap off when you're coloring because opening and closing causes a suction that will cause the ink to come out too fast. So they say leave them open while you color. So we are going to do that just a little bit. You cannot fill them like a Copic marker. Once all of this ink is gone, you buy a new cartridge. The new cartridges are a little bit cheaper than the one that has the cap. So refill looks like, I have one right here, so let me show you. This is what the refill looks like. You can't buy just the refill because the refill doesn't have a nib or a cap. So it's basically this part of the marker without the nib. So you take this nib, move it to this one, and then move the cap over. And then you throw this one away and you start using this one. So it's like a whole replacement when you replace these. It's not like a refill necessarily. But they are a little bit cheaper to buy the refill than it is to buy the main marker. So you want to make sure you don't lose your cap. Otherwise, you're in trouble. So there's a lot of things to think about when you're doing it too. What are you going to put on this end? You could buy a chisel end, just like the Copic markers have, or not, depending on how much you use them. So there's a lot of different things that you have to consider, and I'm just in the thick of learning it right now. But they do feel similar, like the touching of the paper with the nib and things like that feels very similar to Copics, but there are some differences. The nibs are definitely softer, so getting the teeny tiny brush strokes is a little bit harder. I've been practicing, so hopefully I'll get it down here in a little bit. Hi, Irina. But it's just a little bit different. Definitely, I'm not saying good or bad either way. It's going to kind of be your preference and how you feel. But I don't know. This is my first test run, so we'll see how I do. I don't know. So now I'm going to go to the second color I chose, which is OR 2.6. So this one was 4.7, and this one is 2.6. So again, I really figured the colors by blending them on a piece of paper and not by numbering system. And I think the more markers they get, the easier the numbering system will feel to me. But right now it feels I struggle a little bit with the numbering system, only because there just aren't as many markers yet. But I know that they will have more in the future. So who knows, right? Once they have more, maybe the numbering system will flow easier for me. I don't know. This one is O, not OR, but just O 2.7. So that's the one that I'm going to finish off this highlight area right here in the body. Sort of using the 3 darkest colors like I did with the Copic one. But I like it. I think it's a pretty combination. I think there's a bit more red in it, or a reddish look to it than the Copic O colors. But at least you don't have to take both caps off when you color with this one, because this cap only connects to half of the markers. So that's kind of cool. Although you'll watch me take both of them off because I can't help myself. It's a habit. So I'm going to put the markers back and we're going to start with the numbers again so we can start on the sides just like we did with the Copic one, just so we'll have a comparison. So 4.7 is our first number, and I'm going to follow the same patterns that I did with the other butterfly. So every other section, we're going to do them the same. Hopefully I won't miss any sections this time since I have experimented once already, but we'll see how well I do. So I'm trying to get those little brush strokes like this. It's a little bit more challenging, but again, that comes with practice and time. So once you really get it down, you should be totally fine. Just know that with any marker, it takes practice, and I don't have a lot of practice with these markers yet, but I'm working on it. Okay, so yeah. So let's do the other side. This time we'll do both sides at the same time since you've already seen the process go through once. And then that way you can watch it. You can watch it on both sides come together. Sort of like we did before, but you don't have to wait for me to open and shut the caps a million times. So here we go. Any questions so far? You can buy replacement nibs for this marker. You can buy replacement ink. You can kind of all the same thing. I saw you were asking for recommendations for skin color combos for Olos. I'll be coloring with Olos for over a year. And oh, this is good information. A year and a half now. PM me later and I'll send you a combo use. Yes, that would be great. Thank you so much, Irina. I am struggling with skin tones, especially with, I don't have that additional 32 colors yet, but I will shortly. And I just am struggling with getting a really good skin tone. It's either like too pink or too brown, not, yeah. So I would love some recommendation. Okay, 2.6 is the next color. So again, we're going to try to blend that out just a little bit further than the last color. Now see, the nibs are a little bit looser on here, so see how I went over into that section. It won't really matter because we're going to go over it with a different color, but I do have a problem staying in the lines with this nib. And look, I opened both caps and I don't even need to. So I do have a little bit more trouble with that. So I wouldn't say it's a bad thing. I would say it's a learning curve for sure. Because I think once you learn any medium really well, you can make that stuff look amazing. Okay, thanks for popping in. I really appreciate it. I think just getting a little bit of practice and you'll get to know the mediums. So I kind of think you can learn with any medium. And I think everybody colors a little bit differently. Everybody's style is a little bit different. Everybody's technique is a little bit different. And so you got to do what works for you. I just want to be able to help people who color with other mediums than what I like. So that's why I want to learn how to use other brands of markers. I also have Ohuhu. I think I said that earlier. And I will be swatching the Ohuhu and practicing with those as well. But one medium change at a time. Hey, Kathy. So this is the 02.7. This one is a bit more on the brownish side or dark orange, like a burnt orange. So I'm actually going to go over the whole set of colors so that I can bring that tone back to the burnt orange from what appears to be a little more on the red side. But notice I'm not going over it more than once. I don't want to really make it a dark brown. So I'm just going over it quickly. Yeah, you should have seen the other one we did. Ta-da! We did one with Copics, and now we're doing one with Olos to kind of get a feel for each one of the markers. And then anyone who uses Olos can practice this one, and anyone who uses Copics can practice the previous one. So I will try to look through the video and try to make a little note on YouTube of where Olo starts, so if someone's using Olo, they can skip to that point if I can figure it out. But I'll do my best to try to help you guys out with that. It is a big, beautiful butterfly. It is a Scrappy Tails butterfly. Scrappy Tails. Not Scrappy Boy. We all know we love Scrappy Boy, but Scrappy Tails. We love Scrappy Tails too. So it looks like this. And it has two smaller butterflies and lots of sentiments and dies to match. It's beautiful. I love it. Okay, this is the one, the OR 2.5. This is the one that I'm a little bit nervous on. Just because if you look at this color, it is really bright. And we're going to put it up against this, what looks sort of like brown. So, we're going to see how well it blends together. It's supposed to blend together, but I just don't know. We're just going to have to play with it a little bit. Now we have this little transition mark right here, and let's see if we go over it like we do. Oh man, that is cool. That worked out very nicely. I'm very happy. I wasn't expecting that to blend quite as beautifully and nicely as it did. So we do have to work a little on the transition between those two because they're such different colors. But man, that gradient it's beautiful. That is amazing. It looks a little bit different on camera. On camera, it looks a little bit more red, but it really does look orange, like on my desk. It really does look orange. Look at that. I'm a little bit impressed. Just a little bit. And that kind of blended very nicely. Like I said, for you guys who are just popping in or out, I've never colored a full image with Olo markers. I've only been doing swatches so far. So this is all, if it's new to you, it's new to me too. So, you know, bear with me. Just getting excited on my own here. So at first pass, it doesn't blend all that well, but like with Copics, if you work that little transition spot, it will blend nice. You love this butterfly? Yay! I'm so glad, you guys. I wanted an image. I knew this was big and it would take a while to color with you guys to show you everything, but I felt like it needed to be a big enough image that you guys could really follow along with what I was doing. So you got like the true benefit of what we were doing. I felt like anything smaller would just be so small, it would be hard to see what was going on. And especially since we were going to be using different markers and different stuff, I just thought this was one of the most perfect images to use to give us that. But man, I don't know, there's quite a difference between these colors too, I think. Oh, pulling both caps on is going to drive me crazy. 2.5 is the next one. So we have 3 more markers after this one. So, this one goes back to a orangey color. Almost like a yellow. It almost looks like a yellow. So are we going to, I wonder if I was supposed to use this other one first. I should have tested that because I think this might be the one that I was supposed to use. Nope. Nope. this is the right one. Or is it this one? Nope. All right. This is the one that I had chosen. So what we need is a little bit of work on that transition spot again, just like we did with the other one. Yeah. And that worked beautifully. I'll check with Sandy Doux to see if that's okay for me to post photos of my cards with color images along with color combos. Yeah, you can. Irina, you can post in this group, fans of Doux Designs. You can post your photos of your cards and the the image and the color combos. Yeah. You can. I mean, we want everyone to be able to learn, so for sure. So those of you that don't know, Irina is with La La Land. So I don't know if you guys have heard of that group or not, but she has stamps and dies and beautiful stuff from a company called La La Land Crafts. So it was super nice of her to pop in and talk to all of us tonight for a few minutes and offer some combos. I'm really excited. I'm stoked. Oh, you're welcome, of course. You know, Irina, the very first images I ever colored with Copics were all La La Land. I have all the digis. I bought them all. I don't know if you knew that, but yes, I was a fan before I even knew anything about anybody else on the market. Yeah, yours was one of the first ones I ever colored, was Marcy and Luca. So yeah. You're welcome. Yeah, I colored Marcy and Luca a lot. I have bought all the digitals. That was before I really knew how to do anything, so I was afraid to buy stamps. But now, I'm not afraid, but I already have all the digitals. Okay, so this side, I went a little bit outside of the lines again on this one. Again, the control is going to take a little bit of time. This marker is thicker than this marker, so it's a little bit different hold in your hand. So it takes just a bit of practice. It's not bad. Not at all. Like, I don't really have any complaints so far, except that the nib is a bit softer, which is going to take me some time to like adjust to. But look, when you switch from this to this, look at how big of a difference it looks. But when you blend it together, it doesn't look like a big difference. It's kind of neat. Okay, so now I'm going to move to 2.3. The last one was 2.5, and this one is OR 2.3. So we have 2 more colors in the combination. So I guess I colored down a little bit further than I normally would have, since I only have 2 colors left, but this color blends beautifully there. And we're going to move into this section right here. And then, let's see, I need to do this one. And then extend it out. And then this one, this one, this one. And I may skip the next color and just do the last color in there. But we'll see. So this one. And then this one. There we go. I mean, I'm liking how these colors are blending. Don't you guys think they're blending nicely? They seem to be doing really well. they're quite different. Wait till I hold them up to each other and you'll see how different the actual colors that Olo has are from the Copics. I could see using them together might be pretty awesome. So this one is OR 1.3. It's slightly similar and a little bit lighter than the last color. So we're just going to color a little bit with these. I might just do the edge of some of these just so we have it in there. And then we have one more color and then it's on to the next section. We're going to do a lot like we did. We want it to be very comparable to the one we did with Copics, so we're going to be working on that. I'm going to put a little bit here. I think I kind of missed that on this side, but I really, oh no, I think that was supposed to go with this one. Well, got to do it on both sides now. I was supposed to do this one. I got off just a little, but that's okay. As long as we're close, we're good. So I'm going to put just a little bit in here and then we'll come in with the last color and finish those off. Yes, the colors are so different. 2.2. But the weird part is when you swatch them out, they're kind of close. Like I even did a comparison chart where I compared Copics to Olos, and some of them are very, very close in color, and some of them are not. So it really just, I don't know, it's quite a variety of change, which I think is pretty neat for adding more markers to my collection. So just match both these sides. I really like this last very, very light orange. I think it makes a big impact. It really changes that up a bit. So we're about, the last time I took the 3 darkest colors and left those off. So if I did that with this one, that would leave me a starting point with that very bright, bright orange, which I think might be cool. So let's try it out. Here we go, starting with OR 2.5. Ooh, this marker is so juicy, I'm afraid it's gonna spill out something. Oh, it's definitely a variation. I like that. It's definitely getting me what I was looking for. Okay. Feeling confident. It does make me a little nervous, I'm not gonna lie, doing this with you guys when I've never used these markers for an image before. It makes me a little nervous, but also a little excited that you guys actually get to see that process, and you know, not everyone knows how to do not everyone knows how to color like great right off the bat. So I did only one other image that I tried to color. I got frustrated and I switched back to Copics, but that was because I was trying to do skin tones and I just couldn't get it to work. But I think I might actually have that right here. So I never did finish it because I got really frustrated, but if you guys want to see work that's, you know, like this looks like my, you know, like the first time I ever picked up a marker. That was with my, that's why I was reaching out to people and asking for color combinations for scan, because I was so confused. Hey, Jana, so this is Olo. We're doing an Olo. I know you like that. You were asking about that. So we are doing, not really, I wouldn't say a comparison, but we are doing this butterfly. We did it in Copics already, and now we are trying it with Olos to see how it goes. Now, I don't have a lot of experience, and you know that because we talked about that in that group that we were in this weekend, but I decided to bite the bullet and just jump in and try to do this on a live. I know you missed the beginning, but if you want, after the video, it will be uploaded to YouTube, and it will have the Copic and the Olo numbers in the description, so you can try to do these as well. This is monochromatic, so I just picked a bunch of orange colors so that I could get that range of different colors. Hey, hey. So that's all we're doing, is we're just playing around to see if we could make this look like really cool. And then I said at the beginning, if I like how they came out, I may make something with them later, but if I don't, then they'll just be practice sheets that I'll date and use as reference for a later time, when I go back and color this again and say, how am I doing now? Working that little transition spot. You know that was a little bit. What paper am I using? I'm using Hammermill. You'll catch the beginning and replay. I'm using the Hammermill. I believe it's 80 pound. I can't remember. I think it's 80 pound. But yeah, this is Hammermill. I'm kind of a Hammermill fan right now. I have Express It at the house too, but I'm trying to try others so I can, you know, speak from experience on different papers. And someone actually gifted me a ream of this paper, so I've been playing with it to see if I could, you know, if I liked it and if I wanted it. And so I have since ordered another ream, so I definitely like it. Pretty happy with it. It blends very nicely. It doesn't oxide as easy. I mean, it oxides, but just, I don't know. It's not as smooth and wonderful as the one I am. Is the Hammermill brighter than the Nina? I mean, I wouldn't say I would say this one is a little bit off-white as well. I mean, not a lot. It's very light off-white, but it's not a vanilla. It's not a vanilla at all. I was trying to see if I had a piece of, like, I did have a stack here by my desk, but I was looking to see if I had a piece of copy paper so we could hold it up. Oh, there it is. So this is regular copy paper that you buy for your copy machine, and this is, so, fairly close. It's pretty white copy paper. Express It is bright. Yes, it's definitely white. Yep. I mean, I used to be an Express It snob, I'm not gonna lie. It used to be the only thing I ever colored on. And then I found the Cryogen. Don't write that down because they don't make it anymore. And I used that for a while, and I liked that a lot. They don't make it anymore, so you can't get it. So, and then I went to the Sweet Sentiment paper, which you also can't get anymore. Well, I don't know. I don't ever go to that site anymore, but I'm pretty sure the store's closing down. So, I don't know if they have any paper left or not, but I used that for a while, and then I needed a new paper, and so somebody gifted me this one, and I started trying this one, and I really like it. So one more color and we'll move into those outside parts of the wings, but I noticed that I need it on that one already. So yeah, Express It is very bright and it's much smoother. Express It is way smoother than, this one is still smooth, but Express It is more smooth. Usually uses 96 bright copy paper. See? Bright color. Bright colors. Bright white. Bright white. I don't even really pay attention that much to the number on the copy paper. I just buy white regular copy paper. It's very thin, very, very thin. My copy paper, so it's white and very thin. This one, in case I forgot to mention, is OR 1.3 is the next one that I'm using for this section. I want to come down here and get a little bit of that in there. These markers do blend very nicely. So if you were wondering about that, I can tell you that they do blend very nicely. I mean, you have to work at some of the colors, but you have to work at some of the colors with Copics as well. So there's not a whole lot of difference in that. All right, good night, Kathy. Thank you for popping in. This is 2.2. This is not a yellow marker, but it kind of looks a little bit yellowish, sort of. Got a little bit more of a yellow tint to it than the other color did. So now the whole rest of this should be colored in except for those pieces down there. Because those are going to be the ones we do really with all the dark colors like we did on the other one. So here we go. Last color here. Finishing off these edges here. There we go. All right. So now you know the last few parts went by pretty well, pretty quick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to skip this very bright color and I'm going to use just 3 of the last colors for this part up here. So I'm going to use the O2.5, the OR 1.3, and the O2.2, and we'll see how that goes. So this is going to be this area right here where, remember the last time we did just the one side of each one of these, and this connector piece, and then here and here, and we did that on both sides. So we're gonna do that again, following the same process. I can't wait to look at these side by side, you guys. It's killing me. I can't wait. And then this one, which is OR 1.3. Just extending out a little bit further with this color. And we'll add a little bit of that really light color there on the end, because I believe we used 3 when we did the Copic one. So I think that these Olo markers are going to be very challenging for skin tones for me. But I think the rest of it, based on this butterfly, is, I think I can do it. Like, I think I can still color okay with these markers easily with the blending and everything. I just have to learn the colors. But because the colors are so different, and you'll see when I put these together, it's a little bit difficult to get skin tones. So that's why I'm glad Irina popped in and is going to help us out. So this is the darkest color, OR4, 4.7. And that's where I'm going to do these 3 sections down here. And I think we only used, no, I think we used 3 colors. So we're going to use 3 colors down here. And then we did 1 color across all the parts that are in the black. And that's what we're going to do after we finish this part. I'm going to go over this a second time just because I want to make it a little bit darker, and I think I did that when I was doing the Copics as well. Just a little bit of extra ink to make it a little bit darker. I don't know why I removed both caps again. Please don't think that you need to do that. I only need to remove one. It's just a habit. OR 2.6 is next. This one has a bit of a red tint to it, so be aware of that. And down here, I'll get this color going. And we're just doing these small sections down here right now, so a little bit on this side, a little bit right here, here, and that's it for that. And then we're going to move to the 2.7, which is the 3rd in the darkest colors. This one's a little bit more brown, so we're going to bring that brown back in, a little less of that red. I say brown, but it's all orange. It's all orange. And then I'm going to take my lightest color, just like we did with the Copics. My lightest color is 2.2. Yes, habit. And that's what we're going to color in this area right here. All the parts in the black area. Now, again, because this is an alcohol marker and it's behaving the same as the Copics, I'll show you on the other side, but if you wanted to not see that line, the lines where the ink goes over the black, you could do it like this, where you do the whole section all the way down. And then that would prevent you from seeing those lines in there. That's kind of a personal preference decision. I would probably take it all the way out here if I were going to do that, just so that everything stayed consistent and everything looks brown. It didn't pick up any ink on my marker, so I'm good on that. And this is what the opposite of that would look like if I did it on this side and didn't go over the black. So you can see it, you can see some of the spaces at least until it dries. This way you don't. So that's the solution you could use for that. This side, I'll do the whole thing so you can see. Or half. Whichever way you want to look at it. Whichever way you want to do it. It's your choice, your personal preference. To me, I would probably go over all the black just because that's me. That's just the way I roll. There we go. Now, same thing with this one as with the other one. You can take your white gel pen. You can make, little marks on here. You can do the same thing here. This is what I did on the other one, so for comparison we kind of want to keep it the same. Okay, you ready? I'm going to zoom out so you can see them both side by side. How are the tips and nibs compared to Copics? They are softer. So these are the comparisons. The colors are a little bit different. The nibs are similar. I'll show you these two. I'm going to use a fresh sheet of paper so you can see what I'm doing. The Copics are much more firm, so these tiny little brush strokes are very easy for me to get inconsistent. The nibs are a little bit thicker and a little bit looser, flimsier, I guess, if you will. So it's going to take me a while to, like, I can still get pretty good brush strokes, but nothing nearly as tiny as some of these. It's much thicker. So it's not a big difference. It's just a tiny, and that's a learning curve once you know how. I'm heavy-handed, so with the Copics, the resistance and the nib makes it a little bit easier for me. I just have to learn how to shift for the other marker. So one can do very, very tiny and the other one I cannot. It doesn't mean you can't. It just means that this one's going to take me some practice to try to get the hang of, where I already have it with this one. So the nibs are not a lot different, but they are a little bit different. Just a little bit. And this is what you get. So these are the oranges that I pulled out from both the color families. Now, from far away, they look pretty close. It looks like there is a bit more on the peachy side on this one and a little more on the yellow side on this one. So the colors are not the same. So mixing Copics and Olos would be great, but the results are beautiful on each one. So if you weren't comparing and you were doing something beautifully orange, there you go. That is beautiful. Or that is beautiful. I mean, they're both beautiful. This one is Olos. And this one is Copics. And look at this. I got a stand for Olos. These holds my color combination. And a stand for Copics. This holds my Copic color combination. So all the tools, all the place. What do you guys think? This is monochromatic right here, all orange, because it's October 1st. But you could do this in any color. It's the same theory. It's just that you're just using different brands, but as long as you choose all the colors in the same family, all the orange for this one, or you could do all the blue, or you could do all the purple, but as long as you stay in the same color, that's how you can mix up the colors to make it look beautiful yet monochromatic. So somebody had asked for that, and there you go. I aim to please. These stands are currently available at Pajama Crafter Stamps. So you can currently get those. These are in the making. This is, my husband made this one just for me because I was trying to learn the Olos and I needed the colors, and so he made it for me. But we're working on the potential of having that as well. If we're going to be using both, we're going to need both. So what frustrated me the most was these are round and they roll all over the place. They roll off my desk. They roll between each other. I can't keep them in the combination way that I wanted, so I got frustrated with that. So he built the stand to hold the markers so they don't roll all over my desk, and that made me really, really happy because I don't want them rolling all over my desk. But the Copics are oval shaped so they don't roll. So I hope you guys enjoyed that tonight. Don't forget, I will be live again on Thursday night at 8:30 Central. I hope that you guys like this. I think we should try doing a circle of color one time. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that before, but like where everything else is black and white and then just the center, like this one circle spot or this circle spot or whatever is like vibrant color and the rest of it is black and white. That's a thought that I had on doing something in the near future, but I have so many new stamps. If you guys have any questions or suggestions or any stamps that you bought from Pajama Crafter, like the elves or whatever, and you want those to see those colored, just shoot me a message. Be more than happy to cover anything that you want done. I really appreciate you guys being here, and I hope that you loved that. I should probably write on there what they are. So this is the Olo, and this is the Copic. And that way I can post it, and people can decide. Oh, thanks. I love the elves too. We've colored the girl, but we have not colored the boy. So if you want to see something like that on Thursday, we can do that, or we can go back to Halloween and do, you know, something else. I got lots of Halloween stuff. So just put a message either in a comment underneath this video, or send me a message, or post something in the group, whatever you want to do. That would be great. I really appreciate you guys being here. Don't forget the Copic and the Olo numbers will be in the description on YouTube. So make sure to come find me on YouTube. I am Doux Designs. Or you can find me under Copic_Diva. You can find that on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, all the same thing. So find me, subscribe, and then you'll get all the videos when they're uploaded. So I'll see you guys. Come back and see me again on Thursday, and have a great evening. Good night.